Mikal Bridges hasn't found his footing within the New York Knicks offense to begin the season. The former Brooklyn Nets wing is still figuring out where he fits within Tom Thibodeau's loaded starting unit. However, Bridges was never acquired to be a starring offensive player. According to ESPN's Tim McMahon, who was speaking on SNY's The Putback, the Knicks added Bridges due to his elite defensive skill set. The aim was, and still is, to create the best defensive wing duo in the NBA. You give up 5 for Bridges, not because you think he's going to be an awesome offensive player, McMahon said. You think he's going to be better than he's been to this point. But, as a third option or fourth option, he's a really good offensive player throughout the course of his career. But you trade for Bridges because, this is a guy who has been in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. You're trading for him to pair with OG Anunoby and give you what should be the best defensive tandem in the entire NBA. And then, you can protect Jalen Brunson. The expectation is that he's an absolute elite defensive player. Under Thibodeau, the Knicks have developed a reputation for being an elite defensive unit. Yet, to begin the season, New York currently ranks 24th in the NBA for defensive rating. The Knicks need more from Bridges and the rest of the roster if they want to become the stifling defense they're expected to be. It's no coincidence that New York built a roster with potentially the best wing defense in the NBA. In order to slow down the Boston Celtics, you must find a way to contain Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Every team in the NBA tried to overcome the All-Star duo last season and failed. With Bridges and OG Anunoby, the Knicks stand a strong chance of holding the Celtics' star pairing. In the playoffs, where adjustments are made game to game, Thibodeau's team would stand a shot of limiting the impact Tatum and Brown can have as primary scorers. Of course, limiting 2 of the best offensive forwards in the NBA only happens if the Knicks' defense evolves and everybody starts putting in the hard yards. Thibodeau demands commitment to the little details. Yes, the Knicks are a vastly improved offensive unit, but without the balance that comes from playing two-way basketball, New York will struggle to contend for a spot in the conference finals, let alone the NBA Finals. Veteran NBA reporter Bill Simmons is unsure on the Knicks' decision to trade for Bridges. During a November 5 episode of The Bill Simmons Podcast, the longtime analyst shared his thoughts on why the Knicks may have moved too soon to add the defensive specialist to their roster. What was the point of the Bridges trade? Simmons asked. For what they gave up for him. For how little they use him. It's kind of shocking. He's like a 15 points a game guy. He just stands in the corner in crunch time. I thought he would be way more involved with their offense. I thought they would use Bridges as more than this complementary player. He just seems so irrelevant for them sometimes. Knicks fans will undoubtedly overlook any offensive struggles Bridges is navigating if he begins to operate at an elite level of defense. His role is primarily to knock down open shots, force rotations and limit the opposing team's best player. New York has all the tools to be elite. Sooner or later, things will start to click. When that happens, the rest of the NBA must sit up and take notice.